Which one of these dunks, which you were all present for, was the best? The Rattling Gatling, the Lister Blister, or Vince Carter at the Olympics?
Ooh.
We. God.
I'm
So
glad
all
he asked
three of
you and
these
not
now.
me. And we're back. That's Marc Spears. I'm Jay Harris. We're talking hoops with, no, I'm not going to just introduce him. Marc Spears, I'm going to let you introduce our guest.
Well, one, he's a Bay Area legend. Know that, man. He runs the Bay Area. He's an NBA champion, 9-time All-Star, the greatest defensive guard in NBA history. You know him as the Glove. Just an amazing dude. And he's also a coach at College of Alameda and coach of the year in the Big Three. He's one of the greatest NBA players of all time, top 75 all time. Watch your pockets. He might steal something. The one and only Gary Payton, GP. What's up, Gary?
How y'all guys doing? Good morning to everyone.
Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. I need to ask a question like right off the bat because that's the coolest nickname like ever. Where did the glove come from?
You know what? It was in 1993. We were playing the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference Finals. Kevin Johnson was a premier point guard of the NBA at the time. You know, that year he was averaging about 25 or 24 in the league. And we win the playoffs. And, you know, George Karl just told me just to sit on him, do what I can do best. And I was having a pretty good series against him. He was only averaging about 14 points. And next thing you know, we beat them in game 6 and forces game 7. And my cousin just called me out the blue, talking about glove, glove, glove. I was like, man, you got the wrong phone number, and hung up, right? Just hung the phone up. And then all of a sudden he called me back. He was like, cuz, no, don't hang up. I'm like, oh, I said, man, why you calling me the glove? He was like, man, because me and my frat boys over here, we said, man, you got Kevin Johnson like a baseball in the mitt, so tight, man. You the glove. I was like, man, that's pretty good, man. And we ran with it from ever since. And then, you know, it then became one of the top nicknames in that ever come out.
So he didn't copyright it though, huh?
He didn't copyright it. He should have, man. He would have been making a lot of money by now.
Hey, Gary, how did you fall in love with defense? Because Oakland is known for Bill Russell, so you weren't the first defensive guy to come out here. But how did you fall in love with defense?
Mark, you know what? You know, coming out of high school, coming out of Skyline, I was just a scorer. That's all I wanted to do. And then next thing you know, I fooled around and make it to Oregon State. And when I made it to Oregon State, you know, my coach was nothing but a defensive coach in Ralph Miller. That's all he wanted to do was play defense because they were a low scoring. He was a low scoring coach. And all of a sudden, I went there and we didn't even have a basketball for a week. We just worked on defensive slides, defensive drills, and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I don't even know why I came here, man. I'm a scorer. And all of a sudden, he pulled me to the side and he said, look here, son, if you listen to me, you can be one of the greatest defensive players to ever play on this earth. And I just listened to him, and then I just started loving D because it generates a lot of offense. When I was making steals, I was getting a lot of layups, everything. If I was having a bad game and I get 3 and 4 steals, look, I can get like 5 or 6 layups. That's 12, 13 points, and that's it, 14 points, and that's it. And that was my game. So I just fell in love with it, and next thing you know, I just took it and made it a passion.
As great as you were on defense, who's the one player that really tested how good you were on defense?
John Stockton by far. You know, guarding him 94 feet all the time. You guys know, y'all covered him and things like that. He was a guy where everybody thought he was dirty, but I think we were stupid. I think we had videos of him and stuff like that, and we know what he did. He backpicked, he ran around, he did the things. We just had to learn how to stop it, and we didn't learn how to stop it because I think we thought we were more athletic than him. And he was just a basic basketball player. He only played 34 minutes. Every game he played 34. Jerry Sloan played him like that. And he'll have 25, 14, with 6 rebounds and 4 or 5 steals, and we look up and they're up 20, and then we played 44 minutes and we had them same numbers, but it was just a craft, and I hated guarding him 94 feet.
Man, I told you this. My wife loves some Gary Payton, boy. She always talk about I'm mad at Gary because anytime I mess up at the house, she goes, "Don't be mad at me because you missing buckets," which was some trash talk that Gary said in the big three, and she loved that. So Gary, how'd you get so great at trash talking? And who was the one NBA player that be like, man, he might, I don't know if he got me in it, but I respect his ability to talk trash too.
Well, you know what, Mark? It was from these streets of Oakland. My father raised me, and he raised a lot of people out here. We had to go to different neighborhoods and talk a lot of trash. If you didn't talk trash back, you wouldn't survive in Oakland, California in the '80s. And that's what I did. I just got a passion for it. I got good. I got under people's skin. Once I started seeing I can get under people's skin and take the game from them, I used it a lot. But in these Oakland streets, they want to fight you and they wanted to do everything. So I had to have a lot of people around me when I was doing it. But then I took the craft to college and to the NBA, and it started working. And that was the thing that I had to understand. I just had to just learn how to control it. And when I controlled it, it was good for me, and I just took a passion at it. It was just something that I really, really wanted to do, and it worked for me.
Yeah. Who was the one guy you're like, all right, I respect his mouth. Was it Jordan?
Ooh, Larry Bird, shoot, by far.
Ah,
By
yes.
far, Larry Bird. Larry Bird will tell you where he wanted to go. He'll shoot it in your face. He'll tell you, I'll give you a Christmas present. Open up this jumper. And then if he tell you, listen, one time we was playing in the Boston Garden, and Xavier McDaniel was guarding, and him and Xavier got into it. And because how Xavier was. And Xavier kept getting on him. And he said, you know what? I'm gonna hit 3, 4 jumpers in a row all net. If I don't do it, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a problem. And I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do it. And next thing you know, they were blowing us out. And he went out, and all of a sudden Xavier was still in the game, and we still had it, Casey Jones still has had us in the game. And next thing you know, I look up at the shot clock, and Larry Bird coming back in. Like, and then all of a sudden he walked over to our bench. He said, I told Xavier that what I was gonna do to him, and I didn't do it. So I had to come back in and do it. And as soon as he got the ball, they gave him the ball 3 times. He hit 3 jump shots all net. Then he walked by our bench. He said, I told you what I'm gonna do, and I'm always gonna do it. And he looked at Xavier and he said, didn't I tell you what I was gonna do? And then he walked out, man. I said,
And
he
X-Man wasn't no
called.
soft dude either.
No, he was
No,
not.
Xavier wasn't soft, man, and Larry wasn't either, man. Larry said, "Man, I'm gonna give it to you any way I want to. 1 dribble, 2 dribbles, step back, and then I'm gonna hit it." And I was like, "This dude real cold, man." And y'all gotta understand, he wasn't even at full tilt. He was having back issues and everything because I only played against him for 2 years. So I was like, I seen
You
him
didn't
at the
even get
tail
Prime
end.
Bird. You didn't even get Prime Bird.
I didn't even get Prime Bird, and I seen him at the tail end, and I was like, man, this dude is cold.
I love those
Yeah,
stories. I
yeah.
absolutely love those stories. Gary, we keep, it's the big three this in the NBA, the trios, the dynamic duos. I remember watching you and Shawn Kemp going, there's not much better than this.
Tapped away, McMillan to McKee. Up to Gary Payton. Lead pass to Kemp. He'll play it down. What a lob! Whoa! Gary Payton with a lob ahead to Kemp.
How would you describe what you guys did on the court together?
I think it was just amazing, a work of art what we did. For me to get a relationship with my little brother it was just something that was meant to be. I think God put us together for that. You know what I'm saying? I think Seattle got the pick and wanted it. Shawn was calling me on the phone a lot the year before when they was talking about it. They needed a point guard, and Seattle was looking at me, and I just think me and Shawn didn't get enough recognition because we were in Seattle. We were over there in the Northwest. They didn't give it, but we made it known when we went to places. We wanted to tell you we're gonna show out that Lob City stuff, and the Clippers crazy. We was the first Lob City ever. You know what I'm saying? So I used to throw it up to them.
Yes, sir.
That wasn't even a case. They talking about them and Jordan and Chris Paul. No, with me and Shawn Kemp was the first original Lob City. And for us to have a chemistry like that, and people just didn't understand, Sean was more than dunks. He was a very athletic guy. He could shoot the ball in the mid range. He could shoot free throws. He had great post up spin moves. That was real quick. And we both clicked right away. And it was a joy for me to go throw the ball up and make it a venture, because he always say, man, make it hard for me. Go throw it anywhere. I'll go get it. You know what I'm saying? And I made it hard for him, and he went and go get it. And I was just nothing. I was never amazed of what he could do, and when he go get the basketball and he dunk it. His antics afterwards when he pointed at people and he did this and he put his tongue out and looked at you crazy. That's what we wanted to do. That's what made basketball really exciting in the 90s.
Gary, you play with some amazing teammates, whether it was in the NBA or USA Basketball. But I got to ask you, and we've had some conversations about your time with Kobe Bryant. Next in January will be the 5-year anniversary of his passing. You only played one season with the Lakers, but that one season to me is worthy of a movie with your relationship with him. Can you just talk about going to the Lakers and why you went and the connection you had with Kobe?
Well, yeah, the Lakers was a decision on me and Carl Malone. Me and Carl had said that we weren't going to play at our teams too much longer. I didn't think that we were going to stay with the same team. We thought we would stay with Utah or Seattle for the whole time, but he came over to me. He said he wanted to play with me, and we had got a bond that way. And we decided that where we wanted to go together, and we decided to go to the Lakers. Magic called us, and he was talking to us. It was a big free agency that year with us, and it was one of them things. I thought about it. I said Shaquille O'Neal was there, who was like a little brother to me, and he started talking to me, man. I want to play with you. I want to play with you. And then when Carl said it, I said, this is where we're going to go. And then me and Carl had to decide who was going to get the bigger contract and who was going to get the lesser contract. And we flipped a coin, and I won. And I won. So I got the bigger contract deal, and he signed for a lesser contract during the time. And what happened was, when I got there, I don't think my experience with Kobe would have been the same if he wouldn't have got into the trouble. I think the trouble really set it off because everybody didn't know the Kobe that was inside. A lot of stuff had got inside. I thought he was a kid that really thought he was going to go to jail. He really thought he was going to go to jail and his basketball career was over. But he was, reaching out and screaming out for help. And I think Phil Jackson did a great job because all the stuff that was happening with the Lakers at the time, Shaq was battling with Dr. Buss. It was things that was going on during that time, but we're all family. It was all a family thing. And then Phil finally pulled me and Carl in and said, Gary, I want you to take Kobe, and Carl, I want you to take Shaq. I want you to mentor them because you guys are way older than them and they need it. And once I got with Kobe and I got into it, and then he opened up to me, I think it was better. We went to go have lunches a lot of times. We talked a lot of times on the phone. I had to open him up, and I was getting him open. And that was a great experience for me because I got to know Kobe Bryant, nobody else. And I knew why he was so competitive and why he was the way he was, because he was a winner. He wanted to win all the time. And people don't understand that when you have a guy who want to be perfection, and he was a perfectionist, he knew that he would be great. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to be on the Michael Jordan level, and he wanted to be beyond Michael Jordan. And I think that he did a great job of comparing himself with that and doing that. And I just hate that he's not here, and it's just a tragic that we lost a great person too young in his life.
What do you remember about the day he died and when you got the news?
When I got off the plane in Atlanta, and we went to the studio. I was working for TNT, and as soon as we got there, the news had started getting out, and my phone was blowing up, and they were like, "Yo, gee, is it true? Is it true?" So I got on the phone and I made some calls, and then next thing you know, I found out it was true. And then I get to the studio, and Brian Shaw was there, who played with him for a long period of time. And we both just started crying, you know what I'm saying? Because it was just something that it was amazing for us to hear that, you know what I'm saying? And it was one of them things where, you don't want to hear stuff like that. You just was hoping that it was false. And then TMZ comes on with it. And once TMZ gets something, it's true. You know what I'm saying? And we just was wondering. And then all of a sudden they were saying Rick Fox was on the plane, and we were trying to not hope that was to happen too. And we were just sad that anybody was on that plane, and that's how it went. And then all of a sudden, we just couldn't do the show that day. But we found some energy in ourselves to do it. And it was just one of them days where you just wish that you would wake up and it would never happen. And that was an awful day for me, because I just couldn't believe it.
Well, I'm gonna bring you back to some. What's your best story about him on and off the court?
You know what? Kobe was a funny guy, man. In practice he would talk a lot of trash, man. He would talk a lot of trash, But the best thing about him is when he was on the court, he would make you compete, and I love that for him. He would always make you compete. He was always messing with the rookies, making them better, But off the court, the All-Star game was in LA that year, and he was going through this stuff, and I got to him. Me and my ex-wife at the time, Monique was talking to Vanessa, and she was talking to her, and we got him to come to an all-star party there. And once he came there, he loosened up. I had him dancing, I had him, singing. He was drinking wine and stuff like that, and me and him had great conversations, and he was having fun. We finally seen him have fun. He had all the security around him. He had a lot of things, but when we told him, y'all just stay over there and let him be him, you know what I'm saying? And we did that, and that was the best time I ever had with Kobe, doing things like that. And then the All-Star game, that was the best thing ever that happened with me and him, when he came over and asked me how to play defense. And when we sat there and did this stuff at halftime, and then all of a sudden, he was a guy.
What year was that?
I think that was like in
98?
98, right? Yeah, 98.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 98. And, he was only 2 years in the league. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, he took off from there as a defender. As a defender, he took off because he started winning all first teams, all straight. And I was really proud of him. And then every time he would come to me, and he was like, "Yo, big bro, I'm a defender because of you, right?" And I was like, "Nah, you're a defender because of yourself. You're a defender because you want to learn. You don't have no ego. You want to always soak up the knowledge and figure it out." And I wasn't against showing him how to play defense. I didn't care, because I knew he was passionate, and I knew he wanted to be better.
Where did Coach Payton come from?
Jay, I really didn't want to coach. I didn't want to coach at the higher level at a point. But once I start getting into coaching, and I start coaching these young kids who want to try to get to the NBA, it's a special treat because we don't understand what this generation is about right now. These kids are a little different in this generation, and they need a lot of guidance. They never had a father figure or a brother figure or something like that. They always was around their mother, or they were raising themselves. As when I got into this coaching, one of my friends, Sam Moses said, "Hey, man," and Glenn Graham, they said, "Hey, man, come on, try this coaching, man, try it out." And then they was like, "It's in Oakland, California." And that really hit me right there because I know Oakland native guys need a guidance. And especially with me, who I'm being in Oakland, if I'm their coach, I think they'll listen to me a little bit more. And once you get these kids, you have to have kids that's going to respect you. And I think a lot of these kids respect me, mostly all of them. And when I got into it, I found out a lot of these kids need a lot of help. And that's what I need. And that's what my father did for a lot of us in our neighborhood. They didn't have fathers. A lot of my friends didn't have fathers, didn't have figures like that. And my father would take his time out to go buy them tennis shoes, take them to, we didn't have AAU during that time. We had BCI. We used to go to Arizona and stuff like that, and Stockton and stuff like that. And I felt like God put me on the earth to do the same thing my dad did. And when my dad passed, that was the first thing he said. He said, "I want you to take care of the kids. I want you to do the things that you need because you're here to do that, because you can be a leader for that." And it was the right time for me to get into coaching, and then I started getting into the big three, and then I started getting a lot of other things. And it's not done. I just think that this team that I took over now, the College of Alameda, there's a lot of people that need that. And you got to teach these kids the right way to play basketball because this AAU is not teaching them the right way. They're just teaching them to throw the ball out there. You get 10 good basketball players together. But if you call a timeout with 10 seconds, are they going to remember the timeout when you come in and run the play and win a basketball game? Are they going to do that? And most of these kids can't do that. So they need a guidance of somebody who will do old school back to them coaching and do things like that with them and make them do the stuff and understand basketball because they don't know how to play basketball. Some of these guys don't have IQs like that, but you can give it to them. And plus, I just don't want them to know basketball because most of them might not make basketball. They might got to be men. They're going to be parents sometime. They're going to be grown up. They're going to have to pay bills. Or are you going to be able to be a people's person who can go in there and talk to a big time exec with a suit on and understand how to give them your personality or let them understand what kind of person you are? And I don't think a lot of these kids understand that because they live moment to moment. They don't know that they're not going to be 21 no more. They're going to be 40. They're going to be 30. And what are you going to do after that? What if you don't make this? Are you going to be able to go in there and get a job? Or are you going to be able to do that? Or are you going to be able to take care of your son or your daughter who you get? Are you going to be one of them good parents? And I don't think these kids understand that. And that's my main focus right there. You can be famous being a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, a politician. Go do that and make a statement in this world. And that's why I think I got into coaching, because I want to stress that to these young kids, which they don't understand.
So, Gary, I know you got to run, you got to practice, you got to put that whistle on. Two last questions for you.
Yeah.
Once you answer this question, I got something. I think I'm going to stump you.
Okay.
But how proud of you, man? I see you at the Chase Center. You seeing your boy out there, man, seeing that Payton jersey, seeing him win a championship. I'm sure every time, like you're so proud when you come see your boy play. What is it like seeing GP2 wearing that Payton jersey and locking up people like you do?
Mark, I was very hard on him. You know the story about that. I was hard on him. I didn't really think he was going to be a basketball player like he is. And then for him to take the things that he's done and suck it up, it messed me and his relationship up early in his life and in the middle of his life because I was so hard on him. And then all of a sudden, me and him, we've got our relationship back. And it's very proud. People sit over there and they watch it. They put the cameras on me and they be watching me mean mug and stuff. And why they say, "Why you don't never smile?" I said, because I'm looking at it inside myself. it's hard to be who I am and say he should do this and he should do that because I did it that way. That was my problem, putting that on him. Nowadays, Mark, I'm just proud of what he's done. The things that he's done for the Golden State. He's got on a good team with the Steve Kerr who let him play the game the way he needs to play it. He's one of them players that he can just change a game. He's not a superstar. He's not that type of basketball player, but he can be that guy who get in the game and change it. And that makes me proud to see a lot of people like him. But Mark, the one thing I'm very proud of him is that people don't come to me as talking about his basketball skills. The first thing everybody always say to me is how nice and loving your son is and how much of a joy he is. That's the first thing everybody comes out of their mouth. They say they love him so much because the simple fact is how loving he is and how he is with children and how he is with people and the joy that he gets. He's always smiling. He's always happy. And that's what makes a parent be a parent. That's what makes me joy. I really don't care about the basketball because I know he had the ability and the talent to do it. I just care about that's what people always come to me and say. And that's what makes me so happy.
All right. Last question. Which one of these dunks, which you were all present for, was the best? The rattling Gatling.
Scrapes it up, goes back, up he comes. Gatling swats it away. Kemp powers in with a jam. Gatling got a piece of it.
The Lister Blister.
Cross-court, Kemp's got it right up into the alley. Tomahawk jam! Yeah, baby!
Or Vince Carter at the Olympics. I told you.
God.
I'm glad he asked you and not me.
You got, well, when Shawn shook Gatling's hand, it was cool.
Yeah.
The Lister one was you know what I'm saying? And then the Vince Carter was, I don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Mark, you got me. But I'm gonna put it between the Vince Carter and the Shawn Kemp.
The Gatlin one because he shook his head.
I do the Lister.
The other one.
I gotta do the Lister because when he hit Lister and knocked him down and then pointed at him. I'm gonna give it to the list. I'll give it to the Lister, man.
Okay.
Just by this much. I gotta give it to the Lister because he pointed at him and he did the antics afterward. The Vince Carter was something else when he got up and went over that big old boy, and I was right there to see it. I'm right there to see both of them, but I'm gonna give it a little bit to the Lister, man, because of the antics.
Real quick. I know you got to run, but I think you'd want me to ask you this. Seattle expansion, what do you think of it? And is it true that you'd like to be involved?
Oh, yeah, Mark. It's coming. It's coming. I think Adam Silver has done a great job with all the other owners to bring this back. I know they want to bring in 2 expansion teams. What it might look like the Vegas and Seattle. And yes, I'm very involved with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm involved with this group very, very, very toughly. We have a lot of discussions about a lot of things. I be in Seattle all the time. We're very excited. And I think we're going to get it back in the next 3 years, 2-3 years, 26, 27. It might be that soon. And I'm just very excited. I'm very excited to get back involved because the role I'm going to play is going to be a very big role in it. And the first thing I'm going to do is retire Shawn Kemp and Detlef Schrempf's number. That's going to be the first thing I do to make it, and then I'm going to make the Seattle fans come back and love it. We're going to be like in the 90s. We're going to have it going. You know, I'm going to try to get some old school players back in there at the end of their careers so they can make it understand. And it's going to be big for me to be really involved with Seattle.
Man, go to practice, brother. We love you, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Gary.
you guys. I love y'all, man. Anytime, man. Y'all let me know. I got you.
All right, brother.
All right.
Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on ESPN.